The St. Petersburg International Economic Forum is billed as Russia's answer to Davos, a premier showcase designed to prove that despite heavy Western sanctions, the country remains stable and ready for foreign investment. But right as officials were delivering their opening remarks to potential investors, the air raid sirens went off. Take a look at this map of Western Russia. The alarm sounded because Ukraine had just launched a new series of long-range drone strikes, some of which are routinely bypassing Russian air defenses to hit targets up to 1,000 miles away. Ukraine is hunting high-value logistics and energy infrastructure, zeroing in on massive fuel storage tanks and regional transit hubs like Pulkovo Airport. This image shows the physical aftermath. Drones are slipping past countermeasures and turning millions of dollars of industrial refinery equipment into scrap metal and smoke. The Kremlin cannot keep the airspace safe over its most prestigious international economic summit, it faces a massive credibility problem. It becomes difficult to convince foreign delegates that their capital and their physical facilities will be secure. The pool of global capital willing to engage with Moscow is shrinking. Most major international firms have exited, leaving a very specific and much smaller list of attendees. You still have delegations from the wealthy sovereign funds of the Persian Gulf, like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, but even those relationships are strained, as the Gulf states view Russia's ongoing military cooperation with Iran as a direct threat to their own security. To manufacture an illusion of Western participation, the Kremlin has turned to people like Seagal, a former action star who has been granted Russian citizenship and effectively acts as a paid promoter. They also rely on fringe influencers like Candace Owens, using their presence to give the event a veneer of international legitimacy for domestic state media. For the serious financial delegates that do remain, sitting in a conference hall under an active drone warning provides a loud, physical reminder of the liabilities involved in tying their money to Moscow. When these delegates are pitched, they are usually offered two paths. The first is direct investment into Russia's massive energy and chemical complex. Historically, foreign capital in this sector has occupied a precarious position, independent of any military conflict. The Kremlin has a well-documented history of forcefully confiscating assets when the political winds shift. They have stripped the wealth of their own domestic oligarchs and pushed out massive foreign partners like BP and Exxon. Today, the threat of state seizure shares space with the threat of physical annihilation. Investors now face a reality where a loitering munition can physically obliterate a multi-million-dollar facility in seconds. Capital naturally flees from environments where it is destined to be either seized by the host government or destroyed by hostile forces. That brings us to the second, slightly more flexible investment track being pitched in St. Petersburg, the technology, logistics, and services sector. This pitch relies on a stark domestic weakness. Russia possesses virtually no high-end semiconductor manufacturing capability of its own. The absolute best microchips they can fabricate domestically are larger than 90 nanometers. That is low-grade washing machine-level logic. Any hardware required for modern computing has to be imported. To sell this deficit to foreign nations, Russian officials are framing their economy as a blank canvas. The proposition they are putting in front of countries like Brazil or Germany is the chance to build from scratch. They want foreign partners to supply and integrate 20 years' worth of missing digital payment systems, inventory management technology, and modern supply chain networks. It is a pitch born out of necessity. Moscow is asking the outside world to supply the money and the technical expertise needed to build a modern infrastructure that they are incapable of creating themselves. Building complex technological and logistical infrastructure requires two foundations: a predictable legal framework to protect the investment and physical security. Which brings us right back to the stark reality of those opening moments of the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. The sirens echoing over the conference center are audible proof that the basic prerequisites for safe business operations have vanished. With deep penetration strikes reaching targets 1,000 miles past the border, the geography of risk has shifted. The drones have effectively erased the idea of a safe haven within Russia's economic heartland. Until a corporation can be sure that its new factory won't be expropriated by the state or cratered by an explosive drone, the idea that Russia is open for business will remain an illusion.